When I saw what was coming out of the combine this week, my stomach kind of dropped. Because for a minute there, it really felt like we were on the verge of something massive, like the kind of move that shifts the entire balance of power in the NFC. The kind of move that makes the rest of the league look at Detroit and go, oh, they're serious. And now, there's a roadblock. Not a never-happening situation, but enough to make you pause. Enough to make you realize this front office is walking a tightrope right now between going all in and protecting the future. And if you care about this team the way I do, you know exactly why this matters. We're in that window, that real window. And the decisions made right now are the difference between being close and actually lifting that trophy. I'm going to break down exactly what happened at the combine, why things slowed down, and what this means for the direction of this roster. But before we get into it, if you're a real Lions fan who lives and breathes this team every single day, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to Lions Nation Report. We're a new channel trying to hit our first 500 subscribers, and if you believe this team is built for something special, you're in the right place. So here's what we know. There was real belief around the league that the Detroit Lions were seriously interested in trading for Maxx Crosby. Not just kicking the tires, not just making a courtesy call, I'm talking legitimate interest. And the price? 2 first-round draft picks. That's what the Las Vegas Raiders were looking for. And here's the part that really hits. League circles believe that Brad Holmes was willing to be aggressive enough to meet those demands. Let that sink in. 2 first-round picks. That tells you everything about where this front office believes this team is right now. That's not a rebuilding mindset. That's not, let's see what happens. That's a win-now mentality. That's a team that believes it's one elite piece away. And internally, the entire coaching staff and front office were reportedly aligned. Adding Crosby would have instantly put this team in serious Super Bowl contention. No hesitation. And honestly, they're not wrong. Crosby is the type of edge rusher that changes protections. He changes game plans, he closes games in January. You put him on this defensive front and suddenly the entire identity shifts from dangerous to terrifying. But here's where things get complicated. Recent developments involving Terrion Arnold have likely forced Detroit to pause, and this is the part that hurts. Because now, instead of feeling comfortable moving early round draft capital, the Lions may need to use one of those premium picks on a cornerback in the near future, and that changes the math. When you're talking about giving up 2 first-rounders, you better feel rock solid about the rest of your roster pipeline. If corner suddenly becomes a priority need, that's not something you just brush off. That's a foundational position in today's NFL. So now Brad Holmes is weighing future flexibility versus immediate impact. At the combine, both Holmes and Dan Campbell made it clear. They are not closing the door on splash moves, not via trade, not via free agency. Holmes straight up said it would be a disservice to be fixed and closed off to anything that helps the football team. But he also talked about the financial window, making sure the timing aligns, making sure they're operating responsibly within their cap structure. That's the part fans don't always want to hear, but it matters. If you make a massive splash, you're committing serious money. And when Holmes talked about weighing the future versus right now, that's exactly what he meant. This roster has young stars who are going to get paid. You can't ignore that. Campbell took it even further. He basically laid out the reality. If the splash, the money, and the player all align on tape, absolutely you consider it. But if you do that, you're out on other moves. You sacrifice depth, and that's the juggling act. Do you go get the superstar and risk thinning out the competition and quality depth that carried you through injuries last season? Or do you keep stacking depth and trust internal growth to get you over the hump? And let's be real. Last year ended painfully. When Campbell mentioned going through long, hard looks after what they experienced at the end of the season, you could hear it. That loss is still sitting with this organization. They know they were close. They also know close isn't good enough anymore. That's why Crosby fit the criteria. Production, leadership, edge presence. He checks every box for a bold move. But if cornerback becomes a pressing need because of Arnold's situation, suddenly that first-round pick isn't expendable anymore. And once you hesitate on that first one, the 2-pick package becomes a whole different conversation. So where does that leave us? It leaves us in that tension-filled space between aggression and discipline. And honestly, I respect that they're thinking it through. Because this isn't the old Lions. This isn't panic spending. This isn't desperation. This is calculated evaluation. But I'm not going to pretend it doesn't sting. Because pairing this defense with someone like Crosby, that's the type of move that tells the locker room, we're going for it, right now. Instead, we're watching Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell weigh resources, depth, financial windows, draft capital, trying to figure out the cleanest way to get this team just a little bit better. And that phrase Campbell used, get over the hump, that's everything. We're not trying to become competitive. We are competitive. We're trying to finish the job. So what does this mean? It means the Lions are absolutely exploring bold moves. It means Crosby was seriously considered. It means 2 first-round picks were on the table in conversation. But it also means this front office isn't going to mortgage flexibility unless everything aligns perfectly. Tape, money, long-term planning, and roster balance. That's a team operating in a Super Bowl window. And that's the part that should excite you. Because whether it's Crosby or someone else, this front office is actively looking for the piece that pushes this roster over the top. We're not sitting back. We're not satisfied. We're hunting. And as fans, that's all we've ever wanted. Now I want to hear from you. Would you have pulled the trigger on 2 first-round picks for Maxx Crosby? Or do you trust Brad Holmes to protect the long-term structure and find another way? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk it out. And if you're rocking with Lions Nation Report, hit that like button, subscribe. We're pushing for our first 400 subscribers. And if you believe this team is built to take that final step, you're exactly where you belong. One pride.